I never used to doubt her. Not once. For 7 years, Aisha had been my calm in every storm, the one person whose smile could dissolve all my worries. But that night, the night I called her and heard another man laughing in the background, something inside me cracked so hard I could almost hear it echo. It was past midnight. She told me she was staying over at her friend Mira's apartment. Just a girls' night, she'd said, her tone casual, reassuring. I'd believed her. Why wouldn't I? But when I called to say goodnight, her voice trembled just slightly. Hey, she said, breathless, as if startled by the call. Did I wake you? Yes. No, we were just, she paused. And that's when I heard it. A man's laughter. Confident. Blows. It wasn't a sound that came from a television or from someone across the room. It was right beside her, the kind of sound that made the air heavy, intimate. Something inside me turned to ice. Who's that? I asked quietly. There was a pause, long enough for me to know she was choosing her words. Just Mira's cousin, she said too quickly. He dropped by for a minute. I didn't believe her. My heart didn't believe her. Still, I said nothing more. I ended the call with a simple, good night, even though it was the last thing I wanted to say. But I didn't sleep that night. By morning, my pillow was cold, untouched. My thoughts wouldn't stop spinning. Images of her with someone else, the sound of that laughter replaying over and over like a cruel loop. I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was tired. But there was a voice inside me whispering, you already know the truth. When she came home the next day, she looked radiant. Hair brushed smooth, face glowing in a way that didn't come from rest. She kissed my cheek, a gesture that once felt like love but now felt rehearsed. You didn't sleep? She asked, noticing the dark circles under my eyes. Just had some work, I muttered. She smiled faintly. You worry too much. And that was it. No mention of the call. No mention of Mira's cousin. Something wasn't right. That evening I sat in my car parked a few blocks from Mira's building. My hands were sweating against the steering wheel. I wasn't proud of what I was doing, spying, waiting, but trust doesn't die quietly. It rots slowly until it drives you mad. When Aisha left the house around 7 p.m., dressed neatly, perfume lingering long after she walked out, I followed. She didn't go to Mira's. She went to a small cafe near the lake, the kind of place couples choose when they want to disappear in a crowd. I watched her through the rain-streaked windshield. She sat at a corner table. Then, a few minutes later, he arrived. Broad shoulders. Familiar somehow. And then I realized it was Ryan, my colleague. A man who had been to our house. Who had eaten dinner at our table. My chest tightened until breathing hurt. They talked, they smiled. At one point, she reached across the table and touched his hand. That touch, small, casual, felt like a blade to my ribs. I wanted to storm in, to drag him out, to ask her why. But instead I sat there, frozen, watching everything I believed in dissolve in front of me. That night when she returned home, I said nothing. She noticed the way I looked at her. Quiet, distant, but she didn't ask why. Maybe guilt kept her silent. She showered, changed into pajamas, and came to bed. I pretended to sleep. When she lay down beside me, I could smell his cologne, not mine. That was the moment something inside me broke for good. The next day I went to work early. I sat at my desk and stared at the walls. Ryan arrived late. His usual charm intact, laughing with the others. He didn't notice me watching. But when our eyes met, I saw it, that flicker of unease. He knew I knew. At lunch he came over. You look tired, man, he said, voice too casual. I forced a smile. Didn't sleep well. He nodded. You should take care of yourself. There it was again, the guilt beneath his polished words. Later that day I found his car in the parking lot. I opened the door with the spare master key. A small abusive position I never thought I'd commit. There in the back seat, half hidden under a jacket, was a silk scarf. Red. Ashes. I didn't need more proof. That night I cooked dinner like nothing was wrong. She came home smiling, kissed my cheek again, told me about her busy day. I listened, every word slicing deeper. Then I said softly, "I called you last night. You didn't answer." She blinked. "Oh, I must have been asleep." I nodded slowly. "Funny. I thought I heard laughter. A man's laughter." Her fork froze halfway to her lips. For the first time in years, she couldn't meet my eyes. "I told you that was Mira's cousin." "Ryan doesn't look much like Mira's cousin," I interrupted, voice low. Her face drained of color. The silence that followed was suffocating. "How long?" I asked. Tears welled up instantly. "It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think." She sobbed then, covering her face, words tumbling out. Excuses, regrets, apologies that sounded like static. I didn't shout. I didn't curse. I just sat there numb. When the crying stopped, I said quietly, "You should go stay with Mira. For real this time." The house was unbearably quiet after she left. Every corner carried her. The smell of her perfume, the sound of her laughter buried in the walls. I tried to work, to sleep, to eat, but the memory of that man's laughter kept echoing in my head, haunting me. Ryan resigned from the company 2 weeks later. Maybe guilt got to him. Maybe she ended it. I didn't ask. People around me noticed the change. How I smiled less, spoke less. But no one knew what had really died inside me. Months passed. One afternoon I received a message. Unknown number. "I'm sorry." That was it. No name, but I didn't need one. I deleted it. A year later, I found myself driving by that same cafe near the lake. The same rain was falling, the same tables still stood. And for the first time I felt nothing. No anger. No pain. Just a strange calm. I parked for a while, watching the raindrops blur the glass, and realized something. Betrayal doesn't destroy you all at once. It empties you piece by piece, until there's nothing left to break. But in that emptiness you rebuild. I started seeing a therapist. I began painting again, something I'd abandoned years ago. And with every brushstroke, I found a sliver of myself returning. 6 months later I met someone new, Sanaa. She wasn't loud or dazzling like Aisha. She was quiet, honest, and kind in a way that didn't demand attention. When I told her I'd been hurt before, she didn't ask for details. She just said, "Then we'll go slow." And for the first time in years I felt something real. Not the blinding rush of passion, but the steady warmth of peace. One evening, months into our relationship, Sanaa called while traveling for work. The line crackled, and in the distance I heard voices, men laughing. For a second my stomach clenched. The old fear surged. But she said, "I'm at the hotel lobby with my team. You okay?" And I realized trust once shattered doesn't rebuild overnight. Takes courage to pick up the shards. I smiled softly. "Yeah," I said. "I'm okay." And I meant it. Because sometimes, the laughter that once broke you becomes the silence that teaches you. And when the next day comes, the one where no one is laughing, you finally understand that pain isn't the end of love. It's just the beginning of truth.